Mr. Singh.
A very good evening to all viewers, speakers, panelists of this global conference on success in higher education, postdoctoral narrative in abroad. So today we have as a keynote speaker, Madam Maria from Brazil. We have Beatrice Lucia, she is a president, Global Edu Leader Forum from Brazil. We have with us Panthea from Sri Lanka. We have Professor Dr. Arup Varman and a special guest for today, Captain Dr. Denisha from Malaysia. Since we all know, we have come across the challenges of school education, and now it is a step out moving forward to the higher education. During this time of pandemic, we have realized collaboration is most important factor, which is of course beneficial for exchange of idea, taking them to the ground situation and learning from each other. So I would love to hear as a first speaker, Madam Maria. She is throughout connected with higher education in Brazil. She has been closely connected to the technical education. So I wish to know more about postdoctoral narrative in abroad. Madam Maria from Brazil.
Mr. Singh?
Yeah.
At first, can I say some words?
Of course, I can take anyone.
Mr. Singh, my internet instable.
Perfectly all right. No issue at all. Okay. No issue at all. Okay. It's a family. So let me welcome Joe on the screen. Let me welcome Urmi Mala ma'am from Assam and Mr. Raghav from Bangalore.
Okay. Mr. Singh, Renata.
Renata, want to say something?
Okay.
Yes, I would like to say.
Yes, Renata, you can come on the screen. Over to you.
I will say some words now, but on behalf of Beatriz, okay? At first, in the beginning. So it is an honor to be here right now, receiving the team from GEL Edu Leaders on behalf of the founder and president, Mr. S.K. Singh. Thank you for your wisdom and expertise with GEL Brazil. Gratitude. Thank you very much to the panelists and the speaker, Professor Dr. Maria Emilia Camargo, for accepting the invitation to be here sharing her wisdom and experiences. I can't help but mention that you are my academic mother. I was adopted when I presented a project idea for the completion of a specialization course, which was to create an agricultural school for needy people. I remember well that you looked at me and laughed without saying anything. But the following week, she told me, your idea is good. And for our joy, it was implemented, and today is the Federal Institute here. But it didn't stop there. Again, in the master's and doctorate, always by my side. And it could not be different from postdoctoral studies in Portugal. She traveled with me to help me with my field research. As an excellent mother, we went to the shopping together in the evening. We almost missed the return flight to Brazil. My academic mother, you have always been and will be my inspiration. If today I know and I do something different for people and for the planet, it is inspired by you. Eternal gratitude for you, Maria Emilia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beatriz. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to present a little bit of the journey of Professor Dr. Maria Emilia in her journey of education. So, Mr. Singh, can you gently let me to share some
Yes,
pictures?
please go ahead. Go ahead.
You need to make me host, please.
Yeah. You can.
I can?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a minute. Is it visible for you?
I think it's visible.
All right, thank you very much. So this is Dr. Maria Emilia Camargo, as you can see on the screen. She's a visiting professor at Graduate Business Administration Program of the Federal University of Santa Maria, Rio Grande do Sul. She's a researcher of the National Council for Scientific and Technological Development, the CNPq. She's a researcher of the Research Unit of Governance, Competitiveness, and Public Policies. All right, here we are going to show some pictures of her journey in the success in the superior education. We are going to talk about her postdoctoral narrative abroad. Here we have a picture of her. She has passed on Russia, Portugal, and Lisbon to study. And now we are going to start her academic escalation. In 1972, everything started. Then graduation. In 1975, when I graduated from the administration course, I had two paths to follow: work in companies or in academic activities. Then I decided to enter in the academy. In 1976, I started my teaching career at the University of Administration 3 de Maio in Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil. And I was with that doubt, research, public or private organizations. Then continuing my studies, preparing myself to be a researcher. That's what I decided. From 1977 to 1979, I took a master's degree in production engineering at the Federal University of Santa Maria. In 1992, I finished my doctoral degree in production engineering at the Federal University of Santa Catarina. Then I started my postdoctoral abroad, of course, postdoctoral fellow in statistical process control at Kazan Technical State University. The supervisor was Enver Eroslav. Speaking to researchers at Kazan State Technical University. Here I have a certificate to show you. Postdoctoral in quantitative methods applied to management at the Faculty of Economics, University of Algarve, Faro, Portugal. We have the study room, some pictures here. Then postdoctoral in georeferencing applied to knowledge flow, Higher Technical Institute of Lisbon. The certificate. The career of a researcher in Brazil. I made my research career at the university. I started at the Federal University of Santa Maria, and then I continued at the University of Santa Cruz do Sul and Caxias do Sul. Currently, I have returned to the Federal University of Santa Maria. Here we have the St. Basil's Cathedral, the most beautiful church in the world. And we have a picture here of her arrival in Moscow in 1997. Visit to the Quality Control Laboratory at Kazan State Technical University. And my opinion regarding to postdoctoral studies. Portugal is a country that I already knew, and I had been there several times. The country that moved me the most was Russia. The arrival in Moscow, the Red Square, the Kremlin, It's an emotion hard to describe. St. Petersburg is too beautiful. Kazan is also a very hospitable city. It is very similar to the cities in Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil. The professors at the university were all very kind. Working in the laboratories of in the Kazan Technical State University was an inexplicable experience that helped me a lot in my climb as a researcher in the field of statistical process control. In 1980, I became a professor in Santa Maria. And I have a number of master orientations of 23 and a number of doctoral orientations 1. In this slide, you can see many of my conquests here. And finally, I received the award of researcher of 2020 here in my state. In the 2020 edition promoted by the Research Support Foundation of the state of Rio Grande do Sul, I was awarded in the category Outstanding Researcher in the knowledge area, Human and Social Sciences. The Researcher Gaúcho 2020 Award celebrates 10 years of recognizing the work of researchers and their contributions to the development of the state. Thank you very much. And I would like to say in my name now, Renata, that is an honor to speak about Professor Dr. Maria Emilia, who I admired so much and I like so much. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Renata. And I think it was rightly said by Beatrice, academic mother. I was 1 year old once, Madam Maria, you started your career. I born in 1974 and you started in 75. So indeed, it is my heartfelt gratitude. I have someone, academic mother. So I owe my gratitude to you on behalf of a very special day that is called Guru Purnima in India. This is a very, very special day, and I hope the topic which we have taken, this is the very serious concern, since we all teachers keep talking about the students and the achievement. But behind that, there is something beyond, and which I would like to see from your eyes what kind of challenges you have seen, why you have chosen the path of academic rather than having some professional approach in life. So over to you for a few minutes, Madam Maria.
Renata?
Oi, pode falar, Maria.
É assim, ó, eu quero agradecer muito a oportunidade de estar aqui expondo a minha carreira e me colocando à disposição da GEL para tudo aquilo que estiver ao meu alcance. Gostaria muito de, num outro momento, relatar minha viagem que eu fiz à Índia, que eu também estive na Índia, no congresso. Só que com a pandemia deixei todo o meu material em Caxias do Sul e acabei não encontrando aqui o material para fazer a ilustração. Mas, num outro momento, vou contar também a minha experiência que eu tive visitando a Índia no momento de um congresso de engenharia e computação, que foi uma experiência também inexplicável. A Índia é muito linda, as pessoas são maravilhosas e são muito receptivas. Então, esse encontro agora me lembra muito do meu tempo da década de 70, 80, quando o meu orientador era um professor que veio da Índia para Santa Maria. Então, é um momento de muita, muita, muita alegria. Se tu puder, Renata, traduzir para mim.
Doutora Maria Emilia is thanking a lot for exposing her career here, and she's saying that she's available for everything that GEL needs and she can help. And she's saying that a very special moment in her career, it was when she went to India for a conference. She said that India is amazing. And she said that she was very happy here when her orientator was an Hindi teacher. it was great for her, and he helped her a lot. So she's very happy to be here. Okay.
Thank you
she
so
wants
much.
to talk more about this trip one day.
I think let's move forward. Taking topic the same thing, postdoctoral narrative abroad, keeping in mind as per Indian context of success in higher education. I would love to hear Professor Arup Burman from Assam. Your highlights on this. What kind of challenges Indian students are facing in case of postdoctoral research? Why not they are being utilized in India, and how they look forward to the new challenges which they face globally? Your highlights on this for 2 to 3 minutes. You can unmute. Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah. Now it is audible.
Yeah.
Hello, audible. Yeah. Good afternoon, Dr. S.K. Singh from the ZEL Foundation, and I also happens to be a member of this body. Today's invitations, very honored experts and the panelists are here in regard to the educations. In regard to the educations of India, also very interesting, and we have to see about the systems of the university here, postdoctoral setup. I have to tell about my own experience, then automatically their things will be done, because I was actually become a university teacher at my age 26. That is in the year of 1998. I have begun here career. Then later on, up to 2007, I did my PhD plus university career dual. That means the university teachings one side and PhD is a part-time for me. And later on, what is there after getting my PhD in 2006, I was thinking what to do. Then after that, there is again the career plus the thinking about the new career. That means the PhD research career to increase myself, because I have locally done my PhD in my own area. That is my university in Assam, and Assam University. After that, I thought, okay, what to do. In the 2009, suddenly I got the teaching fellowship from the UGC for 2 years. That is, I have applied for the purpose of this one teaching fellowship because I was curious. During that time, there is no net that much. There is no internet. Then even though internet was there, not that much popular in everywhere. So I was gone through the employment news, and from the employment news, I have got the advertisement about the teaching fellowship. And in this teaching fellowship, I have applied for the purpose of, suppose at that time, very hot topic is the connections between India and Southeast Asia. The connection between India and Southeast Asia. And my interest was, as I am from the business administrations, so that is the reason why I have applied for the purpose of human resource development collaboration between the India and Southeast Asian nation. So that means it served the multiple purpose, because I would have to remain within the station to teach, because they are not giving me, even the UGC fellowship tells me that you can take 2 years of leave, but the institution tells that you cannot take leave, you have to teach. And part-time you do postdoctoral fellow by staying in your campus. That means I have to sacrifice my own holiday and vacations, all these things. Then I did I got it from the UGC in the year 2009, this fellowship up to continuation of it 2021. 2011. So this 2 years time, I was doing the PhD in one side, one mind is that the daily one class. The rest of the things I can research, read, go to the library. Then internet was there. At that time, internet has come popular, and I was doing. Then after that, in the month of June, July, August, I used to travel to the countries like the Singapore, then the China, then the part of the Malaysia, then the sometimes because it is basically embassies. Basically, the embassies I have to visit because the HRD collaboration. And the collaborations still is very much, I feel, is that the postdoctoral issues. It's really challenging during that time. Suppose this the Thailand, going to the Thailand, but again the part-time postdoctoral researcher, by continuation of the university services, it's really very difficult job. Oh, yeah. At the same time, my intention was that by doing my postdoctoral research, I will be able to understand the managerial, technical and the collaborative aspect, geopolitical aspects also. Geopolitical aspects of my HRD collaboration between the country of the India and Southeast Asia and all the countries. Suppose these Southeast countries, how they are exchanging. Now, at that time, I have experienced a very, very interesting area is that in case of the India, still that there is the challenges. People are, even the faculty members are not even that much the research oriented and thinking about the research itself, the career along with that one, because to teach the students, the postdoctoral career is very much important. And another thing is that by having the postdoctoral career, we can initiate the collaboration at the individual level. But the thing is that many of the universities is still not yet realized. And at the same time, I understand, I promote, I normally think that there should be more invitations. And if we bring the ideas and opinion from the abroad, the faculty members, suppose we have been joint collaborative postdoctoral fellowship in each and every universities, then we can exchange that what the research is, and we can make a comparative research, and at the same time comparative talent management systems also we can develop. We can even think about what is going on in abroad and what is going on in Assam, what is going on in India, or what is going on in Delhi, whatever it may be. These types of collaborative postdoctoral and the split site postdoctoral fellowship can be arranged from the India too, but UGC is there, DST is there, and at the same time the other organizations, suppose the ICS are also promoting, but these are only for the sake of the national level postdoctoral fellowship. Sometimes only few of the courses are there, few of the postdoctoral invitations are there for the split site, that type of fellowship is there. But at the same time, institutional level, UGC must have to promote. And at the same time, as a public, we have to be very aware about the systems, because it is difficult. And at the same time, the foreigner coming here, they will face the challenge, and we have to provide many things. And we are going, they have to give us the facilities. So like this way, the challenges is there. And the areas, in the case of this, the country-wise areas are very challenging.
I will be coming back to you for the second in the detail. Let me take the, if I can take from you a managerial skill, developing managerial skill and looking beyond the academic, because as I can understand with your talk, it's not like just you're passing examination. If you're doing some research, you will get vocational education, you will get job or not. That is entirely different challenge. Taking you as a special guest for today, Captain Dr. Denisha. Schooling. In the schooling, we are creating a nursery for researcher. How we take it forward? How we can inculcate the flavor of research while schooling? How we can promote this?
Thank you so much, Mr. SK, and a very good evening to everyone from Malaysia. Well, very, very interesting thing you're talking about, which is already there in most of the curricula we are following. Like here, we are following CBSE, the international curriculum, and we are following IGCSE, British curriculum, and starting with IB. So why I'm telling you all this is that how these different syllabi are somewhere converging at the process of research. So focusing straight away to your question, whatever curriculum anybody is following, 3 I'm seeing here, 1 I have, 1 more ICSE I have seen in India. These days, one thing is there that the process of teaching learning has become more research based. There are project-based learning processes which are as we learn the Bloom's taxonomy, we talk about to the concept generation, from knowledge to concept generation, and that is only made possible when we are nurturing into research purposes, when we are taking various topics, and it is not minded. I'll come on to the next subset of my talk. It is not only the projects and projects-based learning or integrated learning that we are talking about research. It is much beyond that. We are doing many researches in the form of quality circles, and I think many of the schools are doing. I have seen very, very active involvement in especially our chain of schools, where we are doing quality circles. And you know, quality circles, when we talk about them, we say it is a mini research. We are promoting and motivating that thought process where children are taking not only the topics related to academia, but they are taking topics related to those subjects which are day-to-day problems, and going for solution finding. I'll give you the latest example. We conducted a research here. We involved some staff also. We conducted research into how to sail through in the best possible way because of limitations which have come to us because of COVID. And it was a beautiful quality circles research which was conducted, where children came out with a solution, teachers came out with solution, and ultimately, I took it up at a larger level. They took a small sample in the beginning. I took it up as a second phase, where I took it up from my side and I presented it in the form of a paper in MIPA, India. So this is just to quote an example. There are various topics which have been taken to research to that extent. How can we make toilets as welcoming place? I mean, can anybody imagine that? So these are the topics which we are nurturing in amongst our children at all levels. Even for many, when children, they learn to collaborate with each other. The children from class 4 onwards, we're giving small topics to them. These days, the bliss is in the form of COVID invention that every child is used to Zoom and other platforms where they are interacting. So this is very important. Why I'm connecting it with examples is that as your topic goes, that, postdoctoral. So it is a temperament. It is a thought process which develops you to become a researcher right from the beginning. Research is not only PhD, research is not only postdoctoral. Research is small thing which I find is not happening in my way. We have started another thing in the form of Kaizen. I'm sure many of you must be knowing it. Yes. And Kaizen is the latest welcomed aspect in India also, where PM Modi has started and opened a Kaizen setup in Ahmedabad. So we have started a mini research in the form of Kaizen as to, okay, how my child's cupboard looks, what all can be done to make it more accommodative. And we are having so many Kaizens coming up and children enjoyed their vacations. So to sum it up in one single sentence, I can say research is an attitude. From beginning to the level when you are talking about connecting to your topic, postdoctoral level, and that attitude has to be set in school. Because I remember I did my research and PhD later after leaving my army services. I was in I served Indian Army for 10 years. This is my second inning, because, I enjoyed that celebrity status for 10 years. And after that, Army said, okay, goodbye. So then because I was in Army Educational Corps, I selected as Education Forum. And I learned research then. So what I did later. Yeah,
thank you. I think I'm taking here Mr. Raghav. He is also from Air Force background. And he is the person who keep ignifying. As you told, research is an attitude, willingness to do, willingness to have a joy. Raghav sir, my direct question, how we ignifying this in the current stage of students, those who are going for IIT, those who are going for medical, but are they aiming till research?
Okay. I thought, good evening to everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I think Dr. Dinisa has given me very nice platform to start with from. I was about to speak on this, that look at the difference between 10, 12 and graduation. In India, we call graduation where we do BA, BSc, and versus the masters, doctoral and postdoctoral. I feel this set and that set are almost similar as far as the horizon is concerned. Horizon of understanding, horizon of knowledge, wisdom, and things like that. Now, in India, if you see, the institute-wise, we don't have any issues. We have various institutes where we can do postdoctoral researches. I'm sorry if you don't get my camera on.
No, Carry on.
Universities like Delhi University, JNU, Islamia, AMU, Usmania, IISc, and several others, where all these facilities are there, and some of my colleagues have done postdoctoral researches there. But the whole issue comes, as your question points towards, is that when I do HSC, high school, the career counselors, wise guys, intelligent guys like me, tell them only up to IIT medical and things like that. We never explain to them that if you do applied science, your path is like this. And if you do pure sciences, your path is like that. That is what is lacking and lagging behind. Igniting should happen, as Madam was saying, during SSLC, during 10th, that yes, you have this aptitude. Why don't you think? I'm not saying you tell him that you have to do like this, because in India, we generally calculate 10 years, 12 years, 14 years, 16 years. That way we calculate our education. We somehow don't reach that postdoctoral. Most of the master's degree holders do not know how to write PhD. How to write PhD and what is full form of PhD and things like that. That's a debatable issue, I understand. So let us avoid. So igniting should happen, must happen during 9th and 10th. And we must tell them, boss, look, engineering medical is fine, but not the whole world. I would try to touch on this in next 45 seconds, is that the actual understanding starts only in masters. 10th, 12th and graduation is only the foundation. Like when we construct a house, you do certain activities and then you start making pillars. Pillars are your masters. Roof and all other things are doctoral and postdoctoral things. Madam was nicely saying that to teach master's students, one has to be postdoctoral guy. No, he can't be master's teaching master. I am a MSc holder in physics, honors this, that, and all that. I am teaching MSc. No, it's incorrect way of doing it. I must have postdoctoral things. So when we say something like, because I am from the language, so when you say life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. If this sentence from Shakespeare is given to me, I must be able to explain this sentence in 1 hour's time. I should be having enough content with me to explain this in next 60 minutes, which I cannot have by just reading Shakespeare's dramas and doing masters in that. So I would come back to that. That is where we are lagging, and that's why less students reach there.
Thank you, Raghav sir. I'm just stopping you because we will take again good news to share with you all. As per the National Education Policy 2020, Government of India has increased the budget from 2% to 8%, especially for the higher education and research. It was rightly mentioned by Dr. Denisha. This is an attitude and which can be ignited by the teachers at the stage of schooling. I would love to know, Urmimala ma'am is there and she is a combo of classical dance. So I will add it as a co-scholastic area. Basically that area is lacking. We are doing research in science. We think research is available only in maths, physics and chemistry. But is there any approach towards the co-scholastic research which we can inculcate and ignifying? If required, we will rejoin and we can continue the session. But you have 2 minutes on the screen. You carry on and then we'll rejoin. Over to you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Singh, for bringing up this important issue. So first and foremost, I would like to say, whether it's an Indian education or any education system, there is something called C4. So which includes, creativity, critical thinking, culture, and collaboration. So this C4 needs to be inculcated in our students right from the childhood. As we're talking about research, the research is not just about, as Captain was mentioning, that it is not just about doing a project-based, activity in the classroom, but the attitude towards understanding about variety of things is what we call it as a research. Now, coming to your question about how can, like, one of the example that I would like to give you is, like, we're doing a research in our own school, where, as you mentioned, that I'm also a classical dancer. The research work is how emotional intelligence can be enhanced when we use performing arts like music, dance in our classroom. So in the classroom, if you're using some kind of, whether it's music, dance, and how to bring happiness to our students, how to improve the EI level of our student, is what kind of research that is required. And as one of my research paper at Arizona University, which I did in 2019, it talks about that in US, a lot of importance is given to social emotional learning. And to what extent here in India, we do not give that importance, and the research is not happening much.
We will be just rejoining. Reason behind ki time will go off on the screen. We'll rejoin for 10 to 15 minutes more. Since the height of